Welcome back! The infamous Cruelclaw is a sizable gentle weasel. Outlaw, mercenary... However, would it surprise you to know that Cruelclaw is actually a playable magic card? Let's find out how. In this video, you'll discover my experiences playing Cruelclaw in 25 or more matches and what I learned from it. Trust me, it's been quite the ride. And here we go. So the challenge I faced was figuring out how to effectively utilize Cruelclaw's abilities to gain an advantage. You see, Cruelclaw isn't just your average creature, it has the unique abilities that can really turn the tide in such a match. For those who don't know, the infamous Cruelclaw is a 3-drop 1 red, 1 black, 1 colorless, that whenever you deal combat damage, you exile cards from your library until you exile a non-land card. You get to play said exile card without paying the mana cost by discarding a card from your hand. With such great power comes great responsibility, right? Well, not exactly. It's super easy to get carried away with the excitement of having such a strong card in your deck, and this can lead to mistakes. I quickly realized that without a solid game plan, I was just throwing away my matches. So I dove deep into my gameplay, analyzed my matches, and figured out how to maximize Cruelclaw's potential. If you're looking to dominate with the deck, you're going to have to be strategic about your plays. There is a learning curve to the deck. It's all about timing and knowing your opponent's deck, especially when they might have all the answers to your best plays. With that, here is the list I'm currently running after multiple changes. My untapped profile is in the description below to show all the versions that I have tried, and as many as 9 different configurations have been attempted, and there's still more to come. As you can see, the list has most of the stock cards. The left side of the deck are what I would consider the main core of the deck that you must have. These are the cards that you have to have. The right side of the deck are the flex slots depending on the meta you'll see. For example, if you see more aggro decks where you're at, Duress might be moved into the sideboard, and you put in more removal spells such as Obliterating Bolt or Go for the Throat. One of the biggest differences from this list to other stock lists are that I am starting 4 Phyrexian Fleshgorgers. This is because of how many people are running Go for the Throats and so much aggro that I have seen. Several of the other minor tweaks are based on what I've seen and played against, so your experiences may vary, especially on the arena ladder. Cards I have tried main deck are shown here in the graphic on the right. Not necessarily the amount of cards, but just the cards that I've tried. Most of the discard packages were fine, but I prefer having Duress to start because I want to interact with my opponents as early as turn 1. Especially with how many tap lands we have, sometimes you just have to play a tap land on 2, but still need a play, so Torch and Duress got the start. Most of the 2-mana discard spells just did not do enough for me, so I cut them and put some in the board while starting more removal main. Coiling Rebirth, while cute with Carnosaur, was worse than Cruelty of Gix, mainly because I can use the opponent's graveyard, and sometimes you get an Atraxa or some other big stuff like another Carnosaur, or a Tali, or anything that's bigger than you. The main omission you might notice is Liliana of the Veil. I might start it eventually, but I have just not been impressed by it. Most of the black decks I have faced have landed on multiple Lilianas against me, and it generally didn't matter. Comment below if you've had better outcomes with Liliana. The other creatures were too narrow in what they did, so I put them in the board and eventually cut the deepest betrayal bat from the deck. I still prefer Sheoldred in the board and Harvester in the main. You could also try Gix's command if you want, but it's not a creature you can give back with Cruelty, and it suffers the same issue much like with Harvester and Misery, where you have it, but it just doesn't come down fast enough and you're still dying in the end anyway. Now, I could be talked to putting it back in to hit off Carnosaur to make a huge life linker, but that still has very, very niche applications, and it hasn't come up that often if I wanted it or not. Now that we've hit on some major points on some card choices that were different in this deck, how do you even pilot this thing? Against the aggro decks, like Mono Red and Convoke, easy. Don't die, and make sure to pray. Alright. All jokes aside, generally speaking, the order of merit of your creatures is pretty self-explanatory. Fleshgorgers are first, then Preacher, then Cruelclaw. Your priority is to kill everything on site if you can, because insulating your life total will help you later. Usually, if the game lasts long enough to get to Carnosaur, it is generally a win. Much like with your strategy, sideboarding also is pretty easy. We're going to cut 2 Duress, 2 Infamous Cruelclaws, 2 Cruelty of Gix, and we're going to add 2 Obliterating Bolts and 4 Brotherhood's End. Post board, again, here we are, pray and don't die. One of the nuances I've actually learned is that there are going to be times where Brotherhood's End is just going to be used as a 1-for-1 against specifically Brass Forge. But this is only as a last resort, since Preacher actually does a decent job at holding back the fort, especially if you're at lower life totals, to give you some insulation from the tokens. Obviously the Forge tokens have trample, but the life gain that you get from those tokens is still monumental. Now on to midrange. Generally, midrange decks are the decks that you're primed to beat. Currently, I'm undefeated against Golgari midrange, even the ones with the Innkeeper combo. Against midrange, I'm running out Cruelclaw most of the time, due to them needing removal on the spot or they just get buried. In my experience, it is a coin flip if they have it or not. You want them to run it at Cruelclaw so you can double spell with Appraiser the next turn and run away with the game. Sideboarding gets tricky, however, because not all mid-range decks are made the same. Specifically for Golgari, these also are not made the same. If you see Go for the Throat, I usually keep some amount of Fleshgorgers in, but if you don't, I just cut them outright because them dying to Liliana is just highly annoying. Having said that, what we're going to cut are 4 Fleshgorgers, 2 Torches, 1 Sheoldred the Apocalypse, 1 Harvester, 1 Cruelclaw, 1 Preacher, and 1 Virtue. With that, we're going to add 2 Duresses, 2 Cruelclaw Heist, 2 Obliterating Bolts, 1 Hostile Investigator, 1 Sheoldred, the 5-mana one, 2 Lord Skitter Kings, and 1 Chimil. Now you might be wondering, why would I board out the Torches if they're good against Golgari, mainly for the Mosswood Dread Knight? Good question. Torches are more for the aggro matchup, and you still get the bolts for the exile effect when you really need them. Also, you have Skitter King for some graveyard hate if they should die in combat and you get to exile them. If you see some Go for the Throats, I would suggest not bringing in the Chimil or the second Cruelclaw Heist and just keeping 2 Fleshgorgers. Control is really the one that I really haven't faced that often, and the control decks that I have faced have been 3 blue-white decks, 2 of them being the Monastery Mentor deck. The pure control deck was not too difficult, and the Mentor deck was highly annoying, but not unwinnable. Generally speaking, against control, just play your cards when it would make control have to decide to counter a spell or spend their mana to draw cards. Essentially, make it awkward for them. Just running your spells on turns they want to counter spells is not the most effective way to win those matches. How do you sideboard for the control matchup? It's pretty easy. We're going to cut 4 Virtues, 2 Torches, and 1 Harvester of Misery. And then we're going to add 2 Duresses, 2 Cruelclaw Heist, 1 Hostile Negotiator, 1 Sheoldred, the 5-mana one, and 1 Chimil. If you think you'll need the Skitter Kings for some reason, just cut some Fleshgorgers. If you want specific matchup data or other matchups to be added to this guide, comment below or shoot me a DM. My social media links are in the description below. To close this out, my journey with Cruelclaw taught me very valuable lessons about the standard format. Each match was a learning experience that helped me refine my approach in understanding the nuances of the deck while knowing the matchups. If you're planning to use the Cruelclaw deck, remember that every game is different, and being flexible in your strategy can lead to some satisfying wins, especially with your sideboard plans. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other gameplay insights and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences with the Cruelclaw deck or any other choices you've made with the deck. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more awesome content like this, while also hitting the notification button to never miss another video. If you want to see actual live gameplay, my Twitch streaming link is in the video description below. See you in the next video.